you're having a great day today. Thank you for tuning in for today's video. I'm actually going to be rocking with the MPC-1, and there's actually some songs that I was hearing in TrackLib, and one of them really stuck out to me. And real quick, thank you to everybody that's been tuning into the channel. A big thank you for your support and hanging out with me as we continue to make beats right here on camera. So let's move forward. Today we have the MPC-1 that we're rocking with. I have this analog heat right next to me. Again, I've talked about this, just using that as a 2-bus processor coming out to you guys. I really like the sound that it gives me. So that's a whole different topic. Right now, I have a blank session, and I'm gonna go to my browser. I have my sample pack right here. If you guys have not checked out my sample pack, go link down in the description. You guys can check out my drums. But I'm actually gonna start off with one of my breaks. I'm gonna go through some of my drum breaks. I actually like this right here. I'm gonna load this up. I like the sound of this one. Load that up. I like the sound of that. I'm loading up a few drum breaks. I'm gonna stick with the ones that just loaded up. I'm gonna go back into my browser, into my SD card. Again, I was going through TrackLib. Some awesome inspiration in TrackLib. I'm gonna load this one up right here and go straight into my sample editor. I'm right here on my sample editor, and not to my drums. I actually want to select that sample that we just loaded up. Again, I'm gonna just kind of go through, truncate what I don't want to use. Get it on the downbeat. Now, since I'm not sampling from vinyl right here, I'm just using a file. I don't want to discard what I have in the beginning because I want to go back to that full-length track. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just extract this section. I'm not going to go for a discard. I'm going to go to extract, and I'm going to name this sample. I'll just say put sample 1. Hit do it. Hit do it. Now I'm going to go over to sample 1, which is right here. And let's work with this small section. What we have right here. Yeah. So I'm going to go from trim mode to manual chop mode. Convert this to its own program. Hit do it. Go to my main menu. On track 1, okay, this is going to be my sample. I already named the program sample. You want to make sure you're naming your program so you don't get mixed up. And then on track number 2 is where I'm going to put my drum breaks. I'm going to put just drums. Right here, I can name this program also drums. Go into my browser, and right here, I got a couple drum breaks. I don't know which one I'm going to choose. I think that one would work. Put that on the first pad. Okay, I think that would work with the sample. I don't know if that's gonna work. It sounds a little too clean. I think I like this one right here. I'm gonna lay that down on the grid. Now, that's a really cool thing about drum breaks. When I'm working with drum breaks, it allows me to jump right into it and kind of allows me to work with my vibe a lot faster rather than me going in there trying to program some drums. Again, it's different for every other day is different for me, but in this case, I'm already ready. Now with our sample, it's a little too fast. I'm gonna go into my program editor, bring it down about 2 semitones. Woo! All right, I'm laying that down. You see, now that's what I'm talking about. When I'm working with drum breaks, it gets my instincts coming out fast, and that locks in. If I would have been thinking of that and then I have to go back to the drums, and like, no, I want to just jump right into it. Like, I'm really feeling that. Now, as you notice, this is a 4-bar sequence, but I only laid down 2 bars. I still have 2 other bars to go. I don't know if you guys mess with this feature on the MPC on your grid editor, but this is my like this is how I build my beats right here. Like I go to my 4th Q link setting and I use my start and end point. These 2 Q links on your 4th setting on the Q links, that's gonna select your looper. You'll see up here your looper. You see that blue right there? It's gonna loop just that bar. If I wanna loop this bar, it's just gonna loop that. So I'm gonna work and build my beat. Like right now, like I said, I got the first 2 bars. That's awesome. Now let me focus on the next 2 bars, and I'm kind of taking my sequence piece by piece like that, almost like if I'm working in a DAW. So it's kind of gives me that workflow that I'm used to when I would work in Ableton, but now I can have it right here in a sequencer, which is awesome. Now, when I was chopping this up, I remember in Bank B, there's actually some really interesting, trumpets. Okay, I want to use those chops. That's going to be on Bank B pads, these middle pads. So I'm going to go ahead. You already know I'm going to color these pads. Let's color these single pads purple. I know Bank B, these middle pads got like those horns right there that I want to throw in there every now and then. So now if I go to Bank A, I can play around with these first 2 chops. So here's a problem that you'll run into. This is actually a good problem where everything just sounds good. But right now, I'm going to just stick to my instincts and just stick with like what I'm vibing with the most. And later on, I know I can switch out a couple notes for other pads. And that's fine. I can do that later. But right now, we're locking this in. Cool, so as I'm doing that, now I only got that 1 bar, but I'm working with this looper and I'm going to the little last bar right here, and now I can fill that in if I want to puzzle it in piece by piece. Yo, so that's dope. I'm really, I'm having fun right now. I'm really having fun. I'm over here. I'm my #1 fan when it comes down to my music, when I'm listening to my beats. If I'm not rocking with my own beats, then I'm just not rocking with it. But just keep that in mind. So when you see me all excited on these videos, it's because I'm really feeling these beats. Right here, again, the mix, I don't really care about the mix right now. The drums might be a little buried. The sample's a little stronger right now in the mix, but it's okay. There's just minor level adjustments that I'm gonna go into and adjust if I have to. I'm gonna go to my drums. Actually on my drums, they are drum breaks. They're not one shot, so we cannot add Mother Ducker because there's no drum one shots to trigger anything. But what I like to do when I'm working with drum breaks, I can still kind of give it that pumping effect. If I go into my sample, and on my sample program, I go to my inserts, I can add, what is this, air pumper. Air pumper is actually, it's giving me the same effect as Mother Ducker, but without anything triggering this. So if I set it at 1/4, it's gonna kind of pump every 4th. And you can set the amount or the depth. If I go to 100%, it's really ducking. I'm actually going to go in and grab some bass and throw some bass on top of this sample. I want to go into my browser, and in my browser, I actually, let me see, just type in bass on my keyword. So I went ahead and loaded a bass sample in here, and it's actually in the sample pool of the MPC. Right now, I'm going to go to my track number 3, and track number 3, I'm going to select a key group program. You got different types of programs in the MPC, but I'm going to actually go to this little keyboard icon, which is your key group program. And right here, while I'm on this setting, I actually want to hide this. I'm going to go to this pad performance and go from chromatic to notes. Now I'm going to go into my browser, actually right here on my browser, and I'm going to go to my sample assign. And in here, I added that bass that I was telling you that I just added right here. It's called bass bud. Load that in. And now that I have that loaded in here, I have it right here. Now, what I'm going to do, I want to make sure I'm matching the bass on key. So what I'm actually going into is my program editor, and I'm going to select sample. And right here, I'm going to go to one of these higher octave or pitch notes, and I'm going to mess with the semitone and the fine setting. And I'm going to do my best to play it by ear, but match that bass with the sample. I'm going to play back the sample and just doing it by ear. So after some practice right here, I came up with a bass line. Let's lay down the bass line right here. Yeah. All right, cool. So that sounds awesome right there. For the last step real quick, I'm going to go into my stereo bus, and on my stereo bus, I'm actually digging. I'm usually using my pedal, my compressor pedal, but I don't want to have too much gear right here on my desk. But right now I'm going to go to this air compressor. This is actually a really cool compressor in the MPC. I actually like messing with this right here. And I'm crushing the compression right now, like it's overly compressed, obviously. My ratio, I'm gonna keep it right there, but I'm gonna jump into my attack and release. There you go, I'm making it pump a little bit right there. Go back, and now I'm gonna lower down my threshold. I personally love how this sounds. I'm going to stop right here. And for those of you that want to max out your MPC and keep saying like, man, I wish I had this, that, like everybody's different, but all I'm using to make this beat is 3 tracks. I got my sample, my drums, and a bass line. That's it. That's probably the most tracks I use on 99.9% of my beats. And I'm happy with this. I don't want to add no more stuff. Like I just do not feel like I can put more stuff into this. Like that's just my style. I'm really feeling this. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you had fun with me right here. I definitely had a good time. We were sweating, but next step right here, I would just mix this later on. But the production side of this, I'm happy with. Y'all have a blessed day. I'll catch y'all on our next video. Peace.